Fundamental changes in the meaning of data. Accountants and auditors long have been concerned with the summary or testing of transaction data into or from a generally accepted format. The associated data have, for much of the accounting profession's history, been difficult to gather, store, and process into meaningful interpretations, and to a higher degree, it had been difficult to ascertain its veracity in the role of an auditor. The data came in the form of paper-based records or electronic files that were not quickly verifiable against the underlying source events and documents. In hindsight, some of the time and cost constraints that were faced by the profession stemmed from paper-based information systems, paper-based processing, paper-based reporting, paper-based analysis, and paper-based record keeping. There were vast amounts of paper-based records that needed to be stored in a physical space and looked through whenever information was needed. Technology has changed that. Technological advancements have increased efficiencies across a variety of tasks that accountants perform, but the primary focus has remained the same. The primary focus was on financial data and summarizing transactional data into generally accepted formats. The characteristics of the data were largely financial and transactional in nature. It was either obtained from a physical source document or an electronic file that recorded the source events and its details. For accountants and auditors, reviewing all of the data was a difficult task and largely an inefficient use of time when it came time to perform a review. Additionally, gathering and processing the data for presentation, compliance formatting, and verification or audit took a significant amount of time without having yet reviewed all of the data available for the period in question. Technology has evolved the way that organizations obtain, store, and process data, which has made it possible for information to be recorded, stored, processed, and analyzed in real time while increasing the veracity of the data obtained to a high level of confidence. This makes accessing information about the underlying source documents and source events of all transaction data much more of a reality than it once was. The primary focus has evolved from summarizing transaction data into generally accepted formats to summarizing data into generally accepted formats and gathering and aggregating information to be used in infer, predict, and assure tasks. Additionally, the transaction data is much more detailed and contains information that was once cumbersome and costly to obtain, such as real-time inventory data and GPS location of inventory at every step of the value chain, among other things. Because of this new reality, accountants, auditors, and data-owning organizations can justifiably dispense the notion that the verification of the completeness and accuracy of transaction data is infeasible due to cost or time. However, the improvements in technology implies a required set of skills that traditionally were not kept by the accounting and auditing professions. That is, electronic data manipulation and analysis. What is causing the shift in data characteristics? Some noteworthy items are technology, increased adoption of technology by corporations, lower cost of obtaining, storing, and gathering and processing data, speed of market capturing opportunities, consistent demand for growth, which is spurring innovative ways to glean valuable information. Disruptors appearing seemingly overnight with innovative and cost-saving ideas. The data that is available to accountants and auditors now is comprehensive and has extensive depth and breadth. The data that is sourced from resources and events that differ from the pen and paper sources that the accounting profession fundamentally evolved from. Some of these sources include social media, telephone calls, public and investor relations, news media, members of the supply chain and value chain, databases, and enterprise resource planning systems, among the many other resources and events that exist. As you can imagine now, the data that is obtainable from these sources is ample. Businesses now use such data to maintain or gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace and make risk decisions. So, what does this mean for the profession? It means that technological tools have transformed the business reporting landscape. Companies now use quantitative and qualitative data to make business decisions. And the advent of new tools has consistently changed the knowledge, skills, and abilities required by the profession over the years. This means that the profession must acclimate as it once has. The profession must create a knowledge base that is at par with the creators of these technological tools. And I foresee hyper specialization within the profession. Additionally, I foresee there will be an increase in demand by accountants for education and technological tools that maintain their competencies as it pertains to accounting and technology. Academia, private, and public accounting professionals will likely reform current standards to report and measure what matters. Additionally, I anticipate that continuing professional educational requirements will be expanded to include non-traditional accounting curriculum, such as technological courses. The accountant is being expected to know how to use the data to make accurate inferences and predictions, while the auditor is expected to use this data in their role as the assurer of the business's representation to external stakeholders. This implies that practicing accountants must be keenly aware of the type of data that is being gathered and stored, and must be familiar with the events that the data is attempting to record. And they must be able to turn or filter their data into something that is useful for the organization. The scope of the accountant's role has expanded from focusing on the transactional data to focusing on how the data is gathered and the type of data that it is, and gleaning valuable information from it. I hope you have enjoyed this PowerPoint presentation.